guys, welcome back to the Strong.Sistas YouTube channel. This video is the next video in our nose to tail cooking series with how to cook kidney. So I think kidney can be a little intimidating for some people to cook because of its strong smell. However, it is an organ that you should not miss out on. It is jam-packed with nutrients, up there with liver, and it also has the DAO, diamine oxidase enzyme, which helps you break down histamine. However, there are plenty of ways to mask and reduce that kidney smell, and in this video we're going to share with you guys our favorite way to prepare kidney, which is braising it and then sauteing it into a hash form. So beef kidneys are large and tough, so I have found that the best way to cook kidney is low and slow through a braising method to make the kidney soft and change the texture. But first, where can you find beef kidney? So it's not the easiest cut to find, especially at your grocery store, and it's often hard for small farmers to get the kidney back from processors. So one option is to find your local farmer at www.eatwild.com and ask him or her to call and ask the processor to make sure that they reserve the kidney in their next butcher. There are also some farms who will ship kidney to your door with your meat order. The kidney that I'm using in this video is from Apsey Farms. Other farms such as White Oak Pastures also sell beef kidney to ship to your door. All right, so let's get started with some kidney cooking. All right, the first step is to remove the membrane. So this kidney actually does not have any membrane on it. This will depend on your processor. So if you have a small thin film on top of the kidney, try to remove as much of that as you can, since otherwise it'll be pretty chewy. So next we are going to transfer the kidney to a bowl of water with 2 tablespoons of vinegar and about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and we're gonna let it soak in here for 1 to 2 hours. So this step is ultimately optional, but it does help reduce that strong kidney taste. All right, so now we're going to strain this through a colander. And then you can run some more fresh water, cold fresh water over it. Let's pat it dry on all sides. And now we're gonna cut the kidney into about 1-inch cubes. So you do not have to remove this fat. This is ultimately suet. So suet is the fat that surrounds the kidney. You can remove it if you want, but it will add a little bit more flavor to the broth. And so I just choose to leave these pieces in when I'm braising the kidney. So I've got the kidney all chopped up into about 1-inch cubes. Now it's ready to head to the Dutch oven to braise. So I have a Dutch oven heating over high heat, and I added about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of ghee. Here you can add your favorite animal fat, so ghee, butter, or tallow. And when this gets hot, we're gonna add the kidney. So we are going to brown each side of the kidney about 4 minutes total. So 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna mix it up and flip to the other side for about 2 minutes each side. All right, now that we have lightly browned each side of the kidney, we're gonna add 2 cups of broth or stock. And we wanna bring this to a light boil. All right, so when it is at a light boil, we're gonna add some fresh herbs. So here we're gonna add some rosemary and fresh thyme twig. You're going to cover and then reduce to low and cook on low for about 1.5 hours. Now just make sure you monitor the liquid level in the pot. So check around 45 minutes or at an hour to see how much liquid is left. The size of the burner that your pot is sitting on could increase the amount of liquid evaporation. So just make sure that you aren't burning the bottom of your pan, and if necessary, add some additional broth. Otherwise, just let it sit at low heat for an hour and a half. So just as a note, another option for cooking the kidney and preparing it is to make a kidney stew. So for the last 30 minutes of cooking, so after an hour of braising on low, you can add some of your favorite produce in this step and then close and continue to cook on low for another 30 minutes or so. Again, monitor the liquid level and add broth or stock as needed, and cook until the produce is soft and you've got yourself a kidney stew. So after an hour and a half, let's check on the kidney. Looks delicious. So like I said, you can have this as a stew. I'm going to strain it from the broth. Keep the broth, of course, because I'm gonna use the kidney to make a little hash. So the other ingredients in this hash, I've got some peeled and cubed squash. This is kabocha squash, but you could also use, for example, butternut squash. Then I've got some peeled and cubed apples, some grass-fed butter, and then some additional rosemary and thyme to throw into the hash. So I've got about 320 grams of both squash and apple. And the first step is to roast the squash cubes at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. So the squash is ready in about 20 to 25 minutes. Feeling generous, so I'm gonna give the broth to the doggos for some extra nutrients. So when you strain your kidney, you may have some looks like kidney paste at the bottom. You can ultimately eat that, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not including it in the hash because I'm trying to make this look very aesthetically pleasing. So now to make the hash, I'm going to reuse the Dutch oven because less dishes. So I have it over medium-high heat, and I'm gonna add a tablespoon of butter. So when the butter is melted, we're gonna add the apples to saute the apples first. So I like to saute the apples for about 2 to 3 minutes to let them soften up a little bit before adding the other hash ingredients. And then we'll add the squash and the kidney. So I also like to add a little bit more fresh herbs, so I've got some fresh rosemary and thyme to sprinkle in here. And then last but not least, some salt. So 1/4 to 1/2 a teaspoon of salt will work just fine. I like mine salty, so I'm adding full 1/2 teaspoon. And then let's mix it all up. So you can really add as much butter as you want. I'm gonna add a little bit more butter here as well. Mix that in. And I'm gonna saute this for about 5 minutes total, again over medium-high heat. And then let's scoop some hash into your bowls to serve. All right, so let's do a kidney taste test. Honestly delicious, and the texture has really transformed with that low and slow cooking. Really tasty. So I really enjoy this hash form. It's honestly one of my favorite meals. I think that it provides a variety of tastes and textures, and it really helps mask any sort of kidney taste. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. If you have not already, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button to stay up to date with our video uploads. And until our next video, make sure you are behaving like an angel.